Hi guys, and welcome to the RMIT Open Day for the School of Engineering. I am Dr. Elizabeth Kiriakou, and by degree I'm actually a mechanical engineer. So I'm also the Program Manager for the Bachelor of Engineering Honours, also known as BH126, here at the School of Engineering at RMIT University. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about engineering school and what makes RMIT the choice of your university degree. These programs are world-renowned and allow students to work across various disciplines to replicate real-world experiences, and we bring all of the knowledge that you learn in engineering school to be able to graduate and actually apply these in the real world. We try to make sure that our students are ready for the real world at the end of the day. During this presentation, there are moderators that are available to answer your questions via the chat. You won't actually be able to speak to ask your questions. However, there is the chat function available, and we'd love to hear your questions. And let's get this show on the road. Let's find out about engineering school at RMIT. Can we get the next slide, please? So I think we should start by acknowledging the country. RMIT acknowledges the people of Wurrung and Biwurrung language groups of the Eastern Kulin Nation. On those unceded lands, we conduct the university business of RMIT. RMIT respectfully acknowledges their ancestors and elders, past and present. RMIT also acknowledges the traditional custodians and their ancestors of the lands and waters across Australia where we conduct our business. Next slide, please. So RMIT is committed to reconciliation. RMIT is committed to redefining its relationship in working with and supporting Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders' self-determination. The university's goal is to achieve lasting transformation by maturing its values, its culture, policy, and structures in a way that embeds reconciliation in everything that we do. In line with the principles of Bunjil, we are changing our ways of knowing, working, and being to support sustainable reconciliation and to activate a relationship between Indigenous and non-Indigenous staff, students, and community. Next slide, please. So, what do engineers do? We live in a society that is submerged in engineering, that is constantly changing around us. Engineers solve problems that makes the world a better place. From the water that we drink, to the buildings in which we live in, the devices we use to surf the internet, especially in this COVID age, and the technology that makes our lives more efficient, and almost everything in our lives and the aspects of our lives are influenced by engineering. And we can just see this by taking a look around outside. Everything is engineering. Next slide, please.
I think an engineer is someone who sees an opportunity where others only see a problem.
You might fail the first few times, but to get ahead, you really need to challenge yourself.
The more you practice solving things, the quicker you get at figuring out how everything works.
Like designing steel structures to support a high-rise building.
Or teaching a robot to see, as well as navigate the space and move an object.
Or building a drone that can lift a heavy payload or survey the land.
Engineering's pretty much professional problem solving.
I learned about electronics by trying to make the fastest racing drone I could. Now I get to test my design in the industrial wind tunnel. That's what I really love about RMIT. It's hands-on learning with a purpose.
Thanks to my experience at RMIT, I got an internship, which became a part-time job that I'm really passionate about. As a junior engineer at Crusader Caravans, my focus is on making the manufacturing process more efficient. I even got to design a new layout for the entire production facility.
I'm always amazed at how modern buildings can reach the sky. At Multiplex, I work with contractors on inspecting structural features. I love that we use innovation to make sure the building is safe, exceeding the highest standards.
Where others might see barriers and obstacles, engineers see an opportunity.
We already have all this amazing technology. RMIT challenges you to find new and innovative ways to use it.
So what is engineering? Engineering is about understanding problems and designing solutions. It's about creating new products and systems through research and development and designing them and actually being able to maintain them. And this is what we learn at engineering school. Next slide, please. So what can I study? Next slide. Thanks. So there are two options. You can, if you know what type of engineer you want to be and you're sure that you want to do a certain specific engineering degree, you can just simply enroll into that degree. But if you're not so sure of which type of engineering, but you know you want to be an engineer, well, we have an option, and that's with the Bachelor of Engineering of Honours. And when I look at my own career, and when I started as an undergraduate engineer, I actually studied electrical engineering for the first 2 weeks. I didn't have the option of choosing different electives and actually tasting what all the other engineering fields are like. And I just transferred into mechanical engineering after 2 weeks of electrical engineering. So I actually think this gives students a great opportunity to explore what they are actually interested in. Let's take a look at the next slide. So we have lots of options at RMIT. So our first year is pretty much where we gain our fundamental knowledge. We have entry levels of maths that are required, and we can undertake 3 electives in your first year of engineering school. Like in my case, I could have done electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, and maybe even aerospace engineering. And these give us the tools to make, an informed decision. There are about 11 specialties that you can move into in your second year of engineering school. And if we move to the next slide, we'll be able to take a look at all our options for engineering. So the 11 choices that we have start from advanced manufacturing and mechatronics engineering, aerospace engineering, automotive engineering, biomedical engineering, chemical engineering, civil and infrastructure engineering, electrical engineering, electronic and computer systems engineering, environmental engineering, mechanical engineering, which I'll have to say is probably the best option that you can do, and sustainable systems engineering. And all of these engineering choices are great choices. I think just to be an engineer at the end of the day is one of the most spectacular things that you can actually do and contribute to society. Next slide, please. So we also run a double degree scheme where you can choose from 16 programs, and these double degree programs really complement our traditional engineering degrees. So we can take courses in a double degree of business management, of chemistry, computer science, environmental science, industrial design, which I'm actually the program manager for mechanical engineering and industrial design, international business, and pharmaceutical sciences. Next slide, please. So why engineering at RMIT? So engineering school is an investment in your future and in the future of our society. At RMIT Engineering, we teach and guide the next generation of engineers to be creative, innovative, challenge existing ideas, and potentially change the world we live in. The next few slides we're going to take a look at actually highlights the unique opportunities that RMIT provides. Next slide, please. Thank you. So here we have Humanitarian Engineering, and we run a wonderful first year program, Introduction to Engineering, where one of our lecturers, Dr. Nick Brown, actually runs a program on Engineers Without Borders. And in your first year, first semester, you're thrown into an actual real project where you have to build and design and actually provide feedback to the companies. This is a wonderful opportunity, and we also have opportunities to work in the communities overseas, which we can also find out more information on later on. Next slide, please. So one thing that RMIT Engineering is amazing is with this project-based learning, and this is a key unique feature that we're very proud of. We have some amazing facilities. We have the Advanced Manufacturing Precinct, which in my first year engineering class, Intro to Mechanical and Automotive Engineering, our students are actually building and designing a truss bridge where we learn the theoretical side, and then we actually apply the knowledge, and we do this at the Additive Manufacturing Precinct. And this bridge competition is actually quite iconic in engineering school, where the students actually get to manufacture in a range of fields of additive manufacturing, so 3D printing, also laser metal cutting and bending. And this gives the students a nice introduction into manufacturing and mechanical engineering. We also have the Formula SAE cars, which is also another fantastic opportunity, which a lot of students end up joining the cars. There's two cars at RMIT. There's one in the city campus and one in Bundoora, and you can actually join the groups. It's a great way to meet other students that have the same interests as you and to develop a network. And the most amazing part of this project is that you can actually take it as an elective in your final year of engineering school. And my favourite has to be the final year capstone project, where if you started off in the common first year degree, where you actually had a taste of all the engineering fields and actually got to meet students that were doing different engineering disciplines, you can now actually bring all that back into your final year project, where this year my capstone students are actually a multidisciplinary group where I have 3 mechanical engineers and 2 biomedical engineers working together. And this also translates back into the real world, where we are going to experience working with different types of engineers, different types of industries. So yeah, the final year capstone project is a wonderful way to bring all your knowledge that you have learnt in the past 3 years into one project, and it's really the showcase of our engineering degree. And at the end of the year, once the students have finished their project, they get to showcase their work at Ingenious, which is our exhibition of our final year engineering students, where we have industry participate and really encourage and help the students realise that what they learn at engineering school is actually applied to the real world. Next slide, please. So there are global opportunities at RMIT. We have over 200 partners with universities around the world. We've had students go and study in various universities, at DTU in Denmark, in Germany, in the UK, in America, and this actually provides students with a cultural addition to their degree and get to work with people in different environments, different cultures, and it's actually a wonderful opportunity. I know at the moment in COVID that's a little bit more difficult, but you know, you're just about to start your engineering degree and things can change in the next 4 years. Thanks, next slide. So for the global opportunities, international experiences will actually provide you with a competitive edge, and it's actually a nice talking point when you're actually going for these interviews of what else did you do, what makes you different when you're applying for that engineering position when you've completed your 4 years of engineering school. Having experience is actually the key to being successful, to be able to study overseas, to take study tours, to take internships, which we'll talk about in a few slides later down the track. Next slide, please. Oh, it's right here. So industry connections. As RMIT engineering students, you have the opportunity to engage with industry from the start. We look at work placements. We actually have a subject called work integrated learning, where you can actually take a 12-week internship with a company, and that's accredited to your engineering degree. And there are plenty of opportunities for this. We have a lot of industry-based projects which you can do throughout the degree, a lot of competitions that which in second year of engineering school there is the Warmid competition. It's highly competitive and a lot of fun. The best projects go and work with teams, with their teams at RMIT, and you compete against other universities. We have a lot of seminars that are run and events. Some of these are with Institute of Engineers Australia. There's various organisations of committees organise events for the students to engage with industry, and these are wonderful events that are highly encouraged to students. And again, in final year of our engineering school, we undertake our capstone project, and this is an industry-based project. So you're not just working on a project that's in-house, you actually get to solve real-world problems, and you get to be challenged by the industry, and you're having constant feedback from companies, and this is a wonderful opportunity for our students to be engaged in. Next slide, please.
I think engineering is about helping people in the real world. Our goal is to help children with limited mobility use technology in a new and exciting way.
We're a team of engineering students at RMIT, and we're working on a project to help children paralysed from the neck down by creating new technology. The aim is to create a connection between facial recognition and robotic arms. But first, we have to capture and learn all possible expressions.
The challenge is translating all these facial movements into computer code. This way, we can communicate directly with the robotic arm.
I always loved tinkering and just making things. But this project is different. It's not just for an assignment. It's for a real client, for the real world. This could be life-changing technology.
Building something completely new is about balancing imagination and practicality.
As we said last time, this is layer by layer simulation of the 3D printing.
We're fortunate that at RMIT University we have amazing facilities and great guidance to make our project a reality.
As we continue to develop our project, it's important to share our progress each step of the way. Engineering is about building something new. It's so rewarding to see how this technology can bring new possibilities into people's lives.
Oh, I love that video. That video actually highlights some of the wonderful facilities that we have at RMIT. In that video, we actually saw part of the additive manufacturing precinct, where we have a combination of polymer and metal 3D printing facilities, and students get to have the opportunity to work in this field and actually use the equipment, and it's an amazing facility. I think the last part of the video was actually at the VX lab, which is our virtual reality space, and that's also a wonderful opportunity for our students. So this now takes us to our governing body, Engineers Australia, and RMIT's engineering bachelor's actually is accredited by Engineers Australia. So once you graduate from engineering school, you'll be eligible to apply for a graduate membership. And as a graduate with AE accredited degrees, you can actually work in 15 different countries around the world. And for myself, I actually worked as an engineer in the US when I just graduated. I also went to the UK, and having a degree that's transferable around the world is actually very convenient. You don't need to do any further studies, and our degrees are just recognised. So that's a wonderful opportunity for the students who are studying at RMIT. Thank you. Next slide. There are a variety of industry partners that we collaborate with throughout our engineering degree. We have students that end up doing internships at Bosch, at Ford, at Boeing. We do wonderful research with these industry partners, and it's a great opportunity for students to actually get involved and to see how the real world actually connects back with what you've learned theoretically at engineering school. Next slide, please. So we need some practical information to work out how to actually enrol into engineering school and what you need to actually get into the program. So can we have the next slide, please? So there are some entry requirements, and you need to always make sure that you check the university guide and the websites for your ATAR scores. So there are a few conditions for the Bachelor of Engineering Honours and the Bachelor of Engineering in Biomedical Engineering Honours. There are a few prerequisites that you need to meet, which is pretty much the level of English and maths. For the Bachelor of Engineering and Chemical Engineering, I believe that chemistry is a requirement. And for all other Bachelor of Engineering programs, before you go into your specialty degree, so that's if you take the common first year, there is a certain level of maths required. However, if you don't meet the complete requirements, you actually undertake an extra maths subject in your first year of the engineering degree, which brings you up to speed. So if you haven't done the required maths, it's okay. You can still enrol into engineering school, and we will provide you with the information that you need. Next slide, please. So there are certain pathways that you can actually end up as an engineer. And the wonderful thing about RMIT is that we have the RMIT TAFE component, or also known as vocational education. And there are a few pathways which you can undertake. The first pathway is to go through the associate degree in engineering technology, and this is a 2-year program. And then after that, you can actually specialise in your chosen engineering field at RMIT. And the second pathway is actually to do an advanced diploma in engineering, and this is a 4.5-year program where you will take 2 years to do the advanced diploma and then transfer into our specialised Bachelor of Engineering Honours, and that will take 2.5 years. So it's actually, there is always more than one way to graduate engineering school, and these are, I think, great pathways to actually end up as an engineer. And when you're thinking about going to engineering school, there are lots of different ways to get to your end goal. And there is not just one path to do this. And I guess that's also why we offer this first year engineering program. So you can actually take a look and have a feel for what you are most interested in. And that's the beautiful thing about RMIT. There's not one way to get a degree. Next slide, please. So once you've decided that you're going to come to RMIT and commit to a 4-year engineering school, we're just going to throw one more year into that and tempt you with a master's degree. So it's a pretty simple equation. You do a 4 years engineering degree plus 1 more year for masters, and it's a 5-year program, and you'll have your you'll complete your Bachelor of Engineering and Honours, and then you can choose your specialty for masters and complete another year to have both degrees. The masters is usually a 2-year degree, but under this scheme, you can actually do it in 1 year. So can we get the next slide, please? So before we go to questions, as engineers, we have the tools and the knowledge, and most of all, the passion and the determination to turn a creative idea into innovation and change. And at RMIT Engineering School, we are trained to think and to solve tomorrow's challenges. So for those students out there who are thinking of going to university and studying engineering, I can't think of a better place to be. So thank you for listening, and I open the floor to questions. Thanks. So I'm just taking a look here at the questions that have been posted. And the first question is, what opportunities do you have for women in engineering? Well, as a female engineer, I have to say RMIT is a wonderful place. We have, in all our years of the program, we have female academics. You'll see we have groups. There is an organisation called FIRE, which is specifically to encourage the girls in engineering to study. But I don't think it's just for the women in engineering. I think it's also just diversity, and it's nice to have a diverse range of people doing engineering school. And when you're out in the real world, that's what life's going to be. It's not just focused on one type of person. We try to tailor for individualness. And yes, there are scholarships available for engineering students. And there are, I think you need to go and have a look at the RMIT website, and we highly encourage women to do engineering. I'm just taking a look at some of the other questions here. So one of the questions which is actually quite interesting in our environment right now with COVID is how much of the degree is online. So in 2020, when we transitioned to the online environment, we're in Victoria here, and we have had quite a number of lockdowns, which we follow the government guidelines. But when we are able to be open, like during first semester, the students were on campus, and we run a hybrid system where our lectures are pre-recorded, and we have online facilities for the students to engage and communicate and actually to do teamwork. And something that I tell my students all the time is, even though you're online for some of your projects at the moment, like especially for this semester, we work in an international world. And whether you're doing a project and you're working for a company in Australia, there's always going to be a division in America or in Germany or in the UK. And we're not face to face with these other teams. So we also need to be able to adapt. And as engineers, that's what we do. We adapt to the situation that's available to us. Let's take a look at some of the other questions. What engineering specialty is the most common and the most scope? Well, in every field of engineering, well, it runs with a multidisciplinary facade. So at the moment in Melbourne, we have a lot of infrastructure occurring. There is the Metro Melbourne project going on, the tunnel. And it appears that it's just civil engineers working there, but it's not. I can assure you, we have a combination of, we'll need electrical engineers, software engineers, mechanical engineers, environmental engineers. So that's actually, engineering is not in isolation, each specialty. It's a multidisciplinary, and we must work together to achieve our end goal. And that's what we try show in our final year project with our capstones, by actually making our project interdisciplinary. Just checking some of the other questions here. One more thing that I could say about COVID is engineers are still working. And when you look at all our online systems right now, even for the university, and even the way the country is running right now, without engineers, none of this would be happening. And we need our software engineers, our electronic engineers, hardware engineers to make everything work. So yeah, engineers are always in demand. Let's take a look at some of the other questions you have here. I feel like some of these I've already answered. So what opportunities do you have for hands-on experience? Oh, that's my favourite question. In my class this semester, my students are designing and building the bridge, and we are actually, even though they're online at the moment, some of the parts of the project in the design aspects, we have a lot of feedback sessions. The students are actually taking their theoretical knowledge and transferring that into their designs for their bridge projects, and doing the calculations, drawing up their designs in computer-aided drawings. We provide the students with the feedback, and in a couple of weeks their designs will be sent to be manufactured, and fingers crossed, and hopefully we'll have some opportunity to get back on campus and actually get the students building their 3D printed or their metal laser cutting or polymer laser cutting bridges. In the second year of your engineering degree, again, you undertake projects like principles of mechatronic design, where students are again working in a team and building robots, building drones. And at the moment, we have our final year engineering students are allowed on campus to complete their projects. So there is scope for our students to be hands-on even in this environment. And what do we have? So this last question here is, what is the difference between choosing general engineering undergraduate program instead of the specific engineering degrees? Well, this is the thing I actually love about the common first year, is that you're actually in your first semester, you get to meet all the students. So even though there are many students in your class, you actually don't know who's going to take which degree, and you get to communicate and meet other students, and actually end up having friends who are maybe civil engineers or going to become mechanical engineers, and you're not isolated in just one engineering discipline. So in second semester or first year, when you take common first year, is you actually get to take 3 electives. And if I had that opportunity in first year, I would have personally taken electrical engineering intro, mechanical and aerospace. And that would have actually given me the opportunity to go into any 3 of these engineering disciplines at the end of it. And instead of just coming from a family of electrical engineers and thinking that I'm going to become an electrical engineer, I would have actually been able to make a more informed decision of which path I could have taken. I don't regret becoming a mechanical engineer. I've had a wonderful career, and I still have a wonderful career as a mechanical engineer. But the common first year provides you with the flexibility and to try out different engineering disciplines. In my class this semester, even though I am teaching Intro to Mechanical Engineering, I have civil engineers in my class, electrical engineering students in my class, sustainable systems students, and it's wonderful to have all the engineering disciplines actually come together And as you, at the end of first year, you break off into your specialty degree, and you get to come back together again in your final year of engineering. So it feels like we actually complete the loop of engineering. Do you have any tips on how to manage your workload? You need to be organised. I'll say that. We have, you end up taking 4 subjects each semester if you're doing the straight single degree of Bachelor of Engineering, whether you take the common first year or the specialist degrees. If you're doing double degree, you have the actual additional workload of an extra subject. So instead of taking 8 subjects a year, you end up taking 9 subjects a year. And each of our subjects are actually 12 credit points. And what we say is that with a 12 credit point subject, we provide 5 hours about of lectures, lectorials, tutorial problems, workshops, and you're expected to do another 5 hours a week. And everything's work, yeah? Nothing comes easy without the hard work. And it's rewarding. And what you find is when you love something and you're passionate about something, the workload is just part of you. Are there any other questions? Let's have a look. So another question is, does the VCE unscored apply for diploma and associate degree pathways? And that's a great answer. And at 3 p.m. today, there's actually a presentation called Pathways to Engineering, and this presentation will be available for you to ask questions, and they'll provide the answers to the entry requirements for the associate degree and the advanced diploma in engineering. And on that, at the end of the day, there are many ways to get into engineering school, as you can see, and whether you start at the advanced diploma or associate, or whether you go straight into the engineering school, at the end of the day, you end up with an engineering degree, and that's what's most fantastic. Yeah, we're here to be engineers. If you do not get the desired ATAR, or you do not meet the maths methods in Year 12, are there any courses that allow a pathway? So if you enrol into BH126, which is actually my program, everybody takes, the general population will take a maths subject in first semester, but if you don't meet their maths requirements in the first semester of your engineering degree, you'll actually take the extra maths subject to bring you up to speed to the rest of the students. And then in the second semester, as one of your electives, you'll actually take the math subject that is actually a requirement. So it's okay. We can overcome some of the difficulties in maths. So again, there are a lot of ways to do engineering. Are there any other questions? But all I can say, guys, is I seriously think, and the best thing I ever did in my life was probably my mechanical engineering degree. Engineering for me has been wonderful and fulfilling and passionate about building and designing. And what you'll find is everybody who does engineering loves engineering. It's just something that's in us, and the opportunities available are without question amazing. Are there any other questions? So I think that concludes our session today, and I look forward to meeting all of you next year at our open week, and yeah, I look forward to you being in my class, and yeah, I hope to see you soon. Thanks.